Ooh, yeah. Snap into a Slim Jim. Ooh,
bro.
yeah. Bone Saws ready.
Spider-Man.
So we'll do a little warm up here. Do you? I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. Are there games that people absolutely love, or there's games from back in the day that people went nuts for, but you played them and didn't really understand it? Like the overrated games is basically what I'm saying. Like,
Didn't understand the hype. It
yeah,
was like, for you, it wasn't the hype.
yeah.
Yes.
Even
Yeah.
even in like the modern era.
I'm probably going to die for saying this. Like, I can just feel it. There's going to be a mob starting outside of this place. Zelda.
Which one? Or just the series as a whole?
Any of them. Like, I love the concept. I really love the Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything around it, but the actual gameplay itself, I was just like, man, this just doesn't. What are they? What am I doing wrong that I'm not?
So I like the classic Zelda, like the NES Zelda. I like Link to the Past, and I like Link Between Worlds, like the top-down Zelda games. I like the 3D Zelda games, like Ocarina of Time. It's like the Dynasty Warriors version of Zelda, or Dynasty Warriors Zelda. I can't remember what it's called. But then like the newer Zelda, like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I don't get the hype for those games at all. I think they are terrible. I do not get it. And everybody, like, when those games came out, like, people that aren't even like considered gamers are playing those games. Like, any content creator in any space was playing Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Celebrities were playing these games. Everybody I know was like, yeah, I bought a Switch just to play these games. And I'm like, oh, I bought Breath of the Wild when it came out because I was like, oh, cool, a new Zelda game. Like, looks fantastic. Like, I'll play it. I played 4 hours of it, and it was the worst experience I've ever had.
Well, and like, you think back to those times of like the vintage consoles, or what they want to call vintage consoles now, basically like cartridge consoles. There wasn't really a like gamer. Like, nobody was a gamer at that point. That hadn't really been established as a stereotype. Most of the people who had those consoles were very fortunate, but at the same time, a lot of people had them. And that even falls into it for me with Zelda. Like, I'd be, like trucking through wherever, and I'd be like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I accomplishing?
Yeah.
Because, 7-year-old me's, do I really want to play this, like, kind of like pseudo strategy, partially action, not really action, whack him 3 times and he's dead, exploration game? Or in context, would I rather play Super Star Wars or Super Empire Strikes Back, or my favorite out of the 3, Super Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
Which was just awesome because I'm out there shredding shit with a lightsaber. And, instead of whistling on this little frickin' flute made out of a croissant. I said what I said. But yeah, no, I think everybody runs into that. Well, they have like these, 1 or 2 games over time where it's like, yeah, everybody loves this, but it doesn't just really sit right with me.
Yeah, like Breath of the Wild to me just it went too heavy into like the RPG genre, where it was like your weapons break, your I don't know if your armor broke or not, but the weather impacted. So you'd be like climbing up a cliff to explore. You'd be mid climb and it would start raining, and you would start slipping.
At what age did you play this?
I mean, this was probably mid-20s.
Okay. Because I definitely wasn't capable of that kind of critical analysis at
Yeah,
7 years old.
Because it came out when the Switch came out. So, well, no, it was for the Wii U, I guess, originally.
I was about to say, if it came out when Switch came out, you were not in your mid-20s.
Yeah. Ouch.
You're closer to like 40.
I am not. I'm closer to 30 than I am 40.
For now.
For another 2 years.
No. Enjoy it while you can. I can't say that. I'm closer to 40. Holy shit. Oh, that's terrifying.
Feels bad, man. Yeah, Breath of the Wild just wasn't. It just didn't get. I didn't get it. If the weapons didn't break and if the weather didn't impact like climbing and stuff, we'd be having a different conversation.
Well, and that has to do a lot, I think, with context of the game. Leave my cord alone. Leave my tail alone. Tail. No, shit. Context of the game. I don't think Zelda was ever supposed to get to that point of realism.
No.
Like you're not. It's Zelda. It's an arcade-oriented game. You know. What's that famous quote? Know where you came from, boy. Like really. I mean, when you're building Zelda 20, 30 years later, you have to remember that the foundations of Zelda were around this top-down game where it was very much an arcade-oriented, let's go around and let's figure this out and let's do this and let's fight this guy. Not, oh shit, my feet are getting wet and I'm going to slip off the damn rock.
Yeah.
Like
you could definitely explore more RPG elements, but it was the wrong RPG elements in my opinion. Like the weather impacting and the weapons breaking. Like the weapons breaking is just flat out annoying. It's just annoying.
I hate that in Animal Crossing, I think it is.
Oh yeah, when your tools break,
it's like, bro.
Then you have to get the materials to make a new one, and it's just, or buy a new one, or spend whatever. It's.
My daughter has been searching for shells for literally a year now.
That game is it's fun. It really is, but it does get to that like repetitive, like, all right, I've had enough of this. Like, I wouldn't say that falls, like, it's close to being like I don't think it deserved as much hype as it did, but I think it came out at the absolute perfect time for that game to come out.
It did.
Absolute perfect time.
Well, and I mean, like, she has the Animal Crossing Switch.
Yeah.
Like the actual colored one, and then I got her the case with it. It was for her birthday whenever that came out. So it's like been several
like
years now.
Probably 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think this week I might take her and get her Hogwarts Legacy so she has something to do other than vegetating in front of the TV. Because I was kind of not nice about that today. But back to what we were talking about. Inevitably, something isn't going to rub you right that everybody else thinks is a great thing.
Yeah,
and vice versa. I mean, I love Nickelback.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, they made Hardy look bad, so.
Yeah, like there's a lot of games that I see that people absolutely go nuts for that I don't get. Another one is Super Smash Brothers.
Hate Smash Brothers.
Sorry. I can understand fighting games and how like people can be attracted to those, like, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, like the top two. Those two are like, Street Fighter gets to a point where you're not just mashing buttons. You are like intricately pushing button combinations to do these kinds of things to like prevent your opponent from really doing anything. And there's like very small windows where they have opportunities to break that.
See, I liked Double Dragon.
Well, that's a different type of. That's not a fighting game. That's a brawler.
Kind
or
of. My favorite fighting game.
I can't think of the.
You know what I'm talking about.
Your favorite fighting game?
N64.
For the N64. Ready to rumble?
Nope.
What?
Clay Fighter.
Oh, Clay Fighter. I've actually never played Clay
Sculptors.
Fighter.
What?
Mm-mm.
You will soon.
yeah.
It ain't gonna be Sculptor's Cut, but
Well,
I don't know. Sculptor's Cut's only what, $1,000?
it's probably more now.
Unless you go for the boxed edition, that's $150K.
Yeah.
I'll trade you my house just to touch it.
The fighting games I can get, but the Super Smash Brothers, I don't get that. I really don't. And like the battle royale games too. While we're on the subject of like huge things, like any of the battle pick 'em, PUBG, the Call of Duty one. I think it was state. Oh, that was like survival.
Is that what that list is? Okay.
Apex, like all of those.
Apex Legends.
Yeah, all of those like open world like
Rocket League.
Well, that's not a
Battle Royale's more
it's
of
not
like
a battle royale.
Battle Royale's more of like a game mode than a game, though.
Well, yeah, but all of these games existed just for that purpose.
Originally, I mean, they found other ways to do. Well, like, so when you say Call of Duty, are you referring to like the 6v6?
No,
Or are you talking
it's the
like every man for
Warzone.
himself?
Warzone
Oh,
is the Call of Duty one.
I don't like Warzone.
Like it was fun when I had a bunch of people that I enjoyed talking to play with.
Our UAV is online.
But after a while, it's just like, all right, this is just the same old stuff. Like now, I'm just kind of bored of it. Like,
You know what I want to see out of a shoot 'em up game?
whatever.
I want to see a shoot 'em up game where it is literally like 1-on-1 or 2-on-2, maybe 3-on-3 at best. But the map is so intricate and you have nothing but a sniper rifle and a pistol.
What do you mean by intricate?
Like a bolt-action sniper rifle.
What
like,
do you?
Like, it's not feasible to actually cross the map and engage in close quarters combat. Like, you actually have to set up, sit and wait,
So
and pop them off.
you weren't big into Halo, were you?
I didn't have an Xbox.
So we used to play a game mode. It was Team Snipers on Halo, and when you played the game mode and you got Valhalla, where it was literally like two bases on each, like way across, you literally just tried to snipe people across the map and nobody like tried to rush. It was so boring because nobody went anywhere. It was just everybody trying to snipe from across the map, and you had like the occasional person that was like, okay, I need to do something because I'm just sitting here. So they would, run and sneak into your base and, kill everybody, and then spawns got weird. But big maps like that, like especially when like with Battlefield and stuff, like there's another one that's overrated. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, but you're either a Call of Duty guy or you're a Battlefield guy. I mean, I like how Battlefield followed the like history.
I like the look of Battlefield.
Yeah, they did that well, and they followed history.
And I like
cool.
the sound effects in it, like when you snipe and you snipe somebody, you have like the bullet drop, and then you hear the ping.
Mm-hmm.
That I like that.
I think that's one thing that I just noticed, like that we all enjoyed GoldenEye so much. Multiplayer in GoldenEye, everybody had the same loadout.
Yeah, and the thing that was cool
and you had to
about
pick up your shit.
About Modern Warfare, well, it was the most recent Modern Warfare, like
Modern Warfare
2019, I think is when it came out. they had like the 2v2 gunfight. That was that was multiplayer like shooter at its finest. Small maps, 2v2. It went quick, or you had these moments where you're like testing each other, trying to get the other one to test you and come out, and then you were ready, to take them on. But it gave you random loadouts. You had no idea what you'd get, and you'd get anything from like snipers to like close quarters shotguns or like crossbows. Like, it was so much fun.
They should do something like that again, and one of the loadouts should be a rubber ducky. Like, you're just a token target for the game.
So speaking of Call of Duty, we'll get off the overrated games thing. I'll go off on that all day.
Minecraft does suck.
The Xbox Showcase just
Enderman.
the Xbox Showcase was a couple of days ago, and I think this was like surprisingly one of the most exciting like game announcement showcases for quite some time. So they announced a new Doom game. I think it's like it's supposed to be a prequel to the Doom series.
Dude, it's not Doom.
It looks pretty good.
It's not Doom.
They announced a new Gears of War game, which people have probably been waiting for that forever because everybody loves Gears of War. That was surprising. They announced a new Perfect Dark game, which is pretty sweet because that's an IP that's been gone since like the 360, I think. They haven't touched it in forever. Which Perfect Dark was basically a sequel to GoldenEye. Same developers. They announced an Indiana Jones game, which actually looks pretty sweet. It's probably going to not be good, but it looks pretty damn good. They showed the new Assassin's Creed with some gameplay and stuff, which I hate to admit, it looks pretty good. I like the samurai, like Japanese.
Oh, that's cool.
Setting. I think that's
what is this, Assassin's Creed 74?
Pretty much, yeah. They announced Black Ops 6, where they're doing something they haven't done in forever, a campaign.
They're actually building content.
They're doing a campaign. Holy shitballs.
Activision's finally realized.
Well, is it Activision that's like? Didn't they used to swap out? It was like Activision, Infinity Ward, Treyarch. Treyarch always did the Black Ops ones, but I don't know if that's
it's one of those companies that spends way too much money building a game.
Yeah. They're using like George Bush and like Bill Clinton in like the trailers, like their speeches or whatever. I didn't look into like the game, like what it's about or anything, because I'm probably not going to play it, to be fair. But
so Clinton was who was president during the USS Cole bombings, right? And then that whole Yugoslavia deal, and then Bush came in, and within a year, 9/11 happened, and he was like, "Hey, hey, oh."
Yeah. So I'm glad that they're actually they're doing they're doing a new Zombies too. So I think they're taking it in the right direction. I think
that's good. That's good that they're getting back to zombies.
We'll see when the actual content comes out, whether it's like, hey, it lasted 30 minutes, or if it's actually going to be worth something.
If Zombies isn't an online thing,
well, yeah, it's going to be online, obviously. And then they announced a new Fable game, which looks sweet. I played the shit out of Fable 3. That game was so damn good. But yeah, like they crushed it. They absolutely crushed it. I think it was, and they showed a lot of other.
Who crushed it?
Xbox. Microsoft.
Xbox hasn't jack shit to do with that. Those people decided
Yeah,
to
but
develop on the platform.
they got to show it at their showcase.
Oh yeah, no, I mean they got to like ride on the coattails of all the game developers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh, and they showed Metal Gear Solid 3, the remake.
how is that going to Xbox?
It's going to Xbox.
Wasn't that a Sony exclusive?
Well, it's going to be
forever?
on PC as well.
Wow, that's a marked departure.
So, yeah, they crushed it. I'm actually shocked
They
at.
didn't do shit. Those developers are crushing.
Yes,
Credit where credit's due.
but when you get to show off the stuff like exclusively,
They planned it well.
yes. They got to show off a lot of good stuff, and it's a lot of stuff that looks really, really good. They showed off a bunch of other like games that there was like State of Decay 3, Stalker 2, some games that like
Why would you? What?
what?
The hell is Stalker 2?
It's like a post-apocalyptic, like I think it's like more like an alien-ish type.
So it's not a game
game.
about stalking people.
No, it's like abbreviations.
Thank God.
STALKER. I don't know what it stands for, but So I was listening. What in the world is that? Okay, that's weird. I was listening to a video from a guy, Mudahar. He's some ordinary gamer on YouTube. He covers a lot of stuff, and he does really, really like good like investigative journalism and like just regular, just like talking about random stuff. But he did a video about Nintendo and Sega went after this like one of the oldest ROM sites that exists. I forget what it's called, but it's been around since like 97 or something like that. Like it's been around for a long time. And they pulled a ton of ROMs off of there because Sega and Nintendo were going after them. So he had like a conversation about like the attack on emulation and the attack on like preserving video games in their original form. So like he was talking about, it's great that we're getting like these remasters, but with some of them they cut content, or they can't have certain songs and music in there, or this and that with different licensing issues. So it's not like you get to play the game, but you don't get to experience it in its original form. So, for example, we was talking about the Grand Theft Auto games for the PS2. Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas. And he was saying, like, in the remasters that they released for the PS4, they don't have certain songs or whatever in those games because they had licensing issues. So you don't, and they had like a ton of bugs and stuff. Like it was really bad when it first came out. I think they smoothed it all out, but he said he'd rather play them in their original form rather than, playing the remaster. So he was talking about how like if these developers and these companies want to fight against people putting ROMs out or whatever, you should be more proactive in bringing them to your console or making them available for people's convenience, whether it be on Steam, whether it be on PlayStation Store, phones, or have your own site where you have these ROMs that people can buy or download or what have you.
Why?
Because he put it pretty well where he said convenience would eliminate well, he didn't say eliminate piracy, but it would reduce piracy.
I don't think convenience would reduce piracy. I think convenience, in the sense that we're talking, reduces the need for piracy.
Yeah.
I don't think they're mutually exclusive, but if you can reduce what's driving people to commit piracy,
Mm-hmm.
they're less likely to commit piracy.
Yeah.
So it's a cascading thing, not necessarily saying that, it's just going to do that, because people are always going to, go after stuff.
Yeah, you're always going to have...
Like it's just going to happen. Even if somebody were to take Super Mario, for example, which probably a bad example, but if Nintendo were to release the original Super Mario Brothers on a website where you could download it to your computer and play it on your computer, people would still go back and mess with it, and then publish that, just because it gives them customization and ownership and a sense of self.
Well, I mean, Mario is actually a kind of a perfect example, because there's infinite ROM hacks for Mario. Like, there's so many out there that exist, and it's just people going in and basically creating their own game using Mario. Whether it be Super Mario World, whether it be Mario 3 or Mario 2, like, there are tons of people out there that do just that, and there's plenty of content creators that do that kind of content, where it's ROM hacks or randomizers or stuff like that. Like, that exists for everything.
Right.
Everything.
The problem is, and I think it's a bigger problem with the gaming community. Maybe it's not a problem. Really depends on what you want to call it, but we're going to point this out as like the elephant in the room. As a whole, gamers have seemed to decide that these games belong to them because they grew up playing them, and they want to see them protected, and they want to ensure their longevity, and they have a genuine vested interest in what's good for the game because it impacted their lives, and they want it to be able to impact the lives of their loved ones and their children and things like that. Whereas the truth of the matter is, even if you buy a copy of that game, that copy of the game belongs to you. You can play it whenever you want. You can play it however you want. You can do whatever you want with it except for copy it.
Yeah.
And by copy it, we don't just mean like clone it, or we mean like the code inside of it. You can't copy that either, because that game belongs to Nintendo.
Yes.
Like, it's up to them to decide what they do with it and what they want to do with it, whether they perpetuate that, whether they release it on ROM, whether they do this, that, expand it, take it and make another game based off of it. People don't come to your driveway and tell you to paint your car blue.
Yeah.
They don't tell you what clothes your kids should wear.
Yeah.
So, while I agree, Nintendo should absolutely start doing things about this, and Sega and all of the developers who were around then and still are around now need to do something about it, because it is important. I think it's more politically driven in that sense than to say, a call to action, if you will, because ultimately it is Nintendo's property. Like, if they don't want people going and copying it because they have plans to release it, I mean, that screws them over, because if there's 3,000 ROMs out there,
Mm-hmm.
and they start charging $20 for a Super Mario ROM, why the hell would anybody ever buy it?
Well, I think with people putting things on, like PlayStation Plus and Game Pass and like the Switch stuff, like, that is you can charge, if they had Mario on the Nintendo eShop on the Switch and they charged like $2 or $3 for it, I don't think it would have a problem selling. I really don't.
Well, yeah. For some people, but I do think
Some-
there would be
some
other people out
yes.
there that would be like, "Oh, I'm not paying $3 when it's free."
Yeah, or you can pay for the online and you can have access to it whenever you have the online.
But also, why would you charge that little for it?
Because I think for some, like, there's a max out price that you can charge for certain things.
How much is Mario for NES?
I think it's like $20.
Why would you charge less than $20? You literally are like, you're giving the same game plus the convenience to play it on a modern system, plus the portability to play it anywhere.
Yes, but
That's a premium, man.
I think like
It's wrong, but it's capitalism at its finest.
yeah, like for like the PlayStation, for example, like when they had all the PS1 classics, I think they were like $5 a piece, and the PS2 classics might have been like 15, like somewhere around there. And it's still like that to an extent. Like they just released three or four PS2 games on the PlayStation. It was Sly Cooper, which I think they were charging like $9.99 for. They had Tomb Raider Legends, I think. I think they were charging $20 for that. And there was Star Wars Clone Wars. That was $10. And there was one more game, I think, but I don't remember what it was. That was, like, they ranged. So, like, they're expanding now, like, bringing more content to the PS5 and stuff for people to play these older games.
Well,
which is the right direction.
I don't think those games should be a different price.
I think
I think the price should be based on the age of the game.
what
I'm sorry, man, but I'm not like any. This is 2024. 1985 was nearly 40 years ago. If you are paying for a 40-year-old piece of software, there is something wrong.
I must be the most mentally damaged person out there.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. Because, like, at its root, these are literally pieces of software. They're just literally lines of code, right?
Yeah.
Like that's it is what it is. So, what else was software in '85? MS DOS. Find me one person that will pay for MS DOS today.
Oh, there are probably tons.
No, dude, I doubt it.
I don't.
For DOS?
Guaranteed.
If there's anybody out there, let me know.
There are people out there that look for those kinds of old PCs to play those old games on.
No. I'm not talking about the equipment. I'm talking about the operating system on that thing.
Well, if you're building the system,
You can't build it.
You need this. You need the software to build it.
Right. Well, to your point, if you were to build it, I don't know that you can still get the components.
You can find them, probably piece them together.
But
There's
you would
people
need
that have
that.
old PCs.
I strongly doubt anybody's paying for DOS. I guarantee you it's out on the web. Everybody.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
just-
You can download it somewhere for sure.
Right. So why would Nintendo even bother with Super Mario knowing that other people have done it? So they've already screwed their ability to make profit on it.
Yes.
And the
which
value is so negated.
Which is why I think for, Sony, Sega, and Nintendo, the best way to monetize your old library is to put it behind a subscription paywall, like they are doing, but you need to expand it more. You need to, and more rapidly.
Well, and we've talked about this before. That takes time.
Yes,
But
it's taking too much time.
dude,
There needs to be a section of each company that, it doesn't have to be a huge team. Have a couple of guys that are dedicated to taking these things and making them operable on the current software and letting them, like, working on bringing them to the the thing, the stuff. Because going after all these ROM sites is only screwing over your fan base. Because your fan base is crying out to play these games. They want to play these games. And some of these games are just inaccessible for some people. I mean, if I want to play, I forget the Sega game. It's like $1,000 now. It's like, am I going to go spend $1,000 on a cartridge to play a game? No.
The largest licensed Nintendo game is Kirby's Adventure. Has 524,000 lines of code in assembler.
We got AI now, dude.
AI.
We're living in the future.
Yeah, but I don't think there is AI yet that can just rip assembler and put it into something else. I mean, I'm sure they have conversions or something like that, but that shit don't work right half the time.
There's like, here's the craziest thing.
And that's
Okay.
one game.
Here's
$500,000 for one game.
Understand, like, this is the mind-blowing thing to me, is people can go and rip Breath of the Wild. They can rip that right off of the Switch cartridge, okay?
Yeah.
And they can make it run on their PC for themselves with higher frame rates. They can boost the look of it, and they can make it like basically like they want it to run, and the way they want to play it.
It's a Switch game. It's already in C++. That's native for a PC.
Well, yes,
I
but
mean, granted, assembler can run on a PC.
if you were
It's
like,
native for a
"Hey,
PC, but-
LJ, rip this game and make it look better," I'd be like, "Huh? What? Make it run make it run 120 FPS." Uh-huh. Sure, I can do that.
That's probably not a lot.
I mean, there's probably a YouTube video out there that tell you how to do it.
Well, when you think about it, it's just the rendering frequency. So, frames per second, if it's currently 30, just add a *4 wherever you render, and
yeah, like the way
Suddenly
that
it's
these
like,
people can work, and the things that they can do are just, it's mind-blowing to me. Like, all the randomizers and like the I forget what the things are called. They're like a different game built inside the game. They like changed a couple of things and outfits and put other stuff in, and
yeah.
it's wild to me, like, what some people can do.
The other thing you have to remember is C++ is an object-oriented programming language that is still used today. For the most part, assembler is basically dead. Like, all the people that were really good with it are now retired for the most part, and to find somebody that knows both, this is something we run into in my career a lot because we modernize systems from nearly ancient languages to modern ones. It's hard to find people that understand both in one person, and you don't, have like two resources, one that understands this, one that understands that. It's a rarity. It's unfortunate because they don't teach it. I mean, Hewlett-Packard back in 2015 started this program for legacy software, so that way people who were fresh out of college in software engineering or computer science learned this, language that was made in 1959 because they needed to be able to understand it so they could upgrade it. So it's not it's an easy problem, but at a resource perspective, it is not as easy as it seems.
I guess, but if they want to go after all these people,
If they wanted to do it, they could do it.
Exactly. If they wanted to do it, they could do it. They'd find a way to do it.
But it doesn't make sense.
It just, I don't know. I don't get it.
So I told you how many lines of code are in Kirby's Adventure. How many was it?
524,000.
Right. How many lines of code are in Pong?
I don't know.
None.
None.
Pong was like strictly logic chips. There was no code at all.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. When I see like them going after like all these people for these, ROMs from games from the late 80s, early 90s, it's like, hey guys, like, just let us have our fun.
That's a good sign, though.
And the other thing too is like, like he was saying in that video about preservation and stuff, like there should be a site, just a singular site that just has everything just all in one, which is basically what this site is. It's like, it has a ton of ROMs, a ton of like scanned manuals and art and promotions, like all of this preservation of the history of all of these games, and these games in like their original form.
So one, they knew this was coming. I promise you. They you don't put that stuff up there and you're like, oh, it'll be fine. No, you know it's coming. The writing's on the wall. Two, Nintendo, the fact that they are going after people tells me that it's in their mind.
Yeah.
That they may have something in store. They might be planning something, and that's why they're doing this, to kind of pave the way so that when they do actually address it, it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it does make sense for that, but
if you want the man to do it themselves, you got to trust the man to take ownership and say, this is how it goes.
well, they should, tell us what they're doing.
Well, they might not be able to. Yo, it might.
about to lay the smackdown on them here.
I don't know if there's a language barrier. I mean,
so in talks, we're gonna switch it up, Andy. We're gonna go off topic.
You wearing moccasins?
I am wearing moccasins. Speaking, like, since we're on the topic of old games, retro games, and us being old men,
here we go.
What are some of your favorite gaming memories growing up? From any time period. I mean, I have plenty from my whole entire childhood. Like, what are some of the ones that just are just ingrained in your brain?
I think back to then, like playing games.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that just like pops into my head is Super Mario 64, Mario Kart with my grandfather, GoldenEye with him is like the next big one. I have some memories of like Mario Paint on Super Nintendo. I played that mostly alone. There was this one game, Championship Pool. It's actually the only Super Nintendo game that I still own, that Pop and I used to play religiously because I grew up in a home that did not have the space for a pool table, and there weren't really any pool tables around us, and that's something he really loved, and I grew to love it too, so we played that a lot. But we could never get past the second stage in the fucking tournament. Dude, and
that was the same thing with me, is like our house, there was no chance of ever having a pool table. But the worst part was I had friends that had pool tables. So when I would go over to their house, I'd be like, yes, let's play pool. I want to play pool. They never wanted to play pool. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, it's the coolest thing ever.
So, funny thing, like building on that memory, my grandparents moved I guess it was early, like 2003, 2004. That's when we came up here. And in 2006, for Christmas, I did get him a pool table in his basement.
You got him a pool table.
I got him a pool table. It was red felt. It was like mahogany. And that pool table, when he wound up in a nursing home, became mine. You know, he
That's
told
the
me
one that you have in.
had.
Oh, okay.
I wound up letting it go because it, you know, the basement had flooded, I think twice at that point, and I was like, if I just leave this down here, it's only going to wind up getting messed up.
Yeah, I guess that
and we
makes
didn't
sense.
really play it. Like, for me, every time I went to go play it, it was like, who am I playing? And then I would think about the nights that we all just would get together and play, me, him, and the neighbor. And I was like, you know, I'm not really into this anymore. So, but yeah, so I wound up getting him a pool table. And he had his pool table until he couldn't use it, and then I think it was a guy got it. This guy picked it up for his kids, his two sons. So
That's cool.
that's where it belongs.
Yeah, like there are some people that hold on to things for the sentimental value or whatever, and they never use it, and it's just like they're kind of holding on to that like memory and like the physical. But there are some people that can actually let it go to like a good home, knowing that it's going to be enjoyed and loved and played or what have you, and like that's a cool thing, you know, especially like I'm a pretty sentimental guy to an extent, but when you like if I'm getting rid of something and I know it's going to somebody who's like really excited about it, or it's going to a guy who's going to give it to his kids or something like that. Like I've had plenty of little like Facebook Marketplace deals where I've sold stuff and you know, they tell me like, oh, it's a surprise for my son for Christmas or something like that. I'm like, oh yeah, like that's cool.
Yeah, that's
Actually,
awesome.
before I forget to say this story, I bought a Halo 4 Xbox 360 one time on Marketplace, and the story that this guy had was so touching. So I saw it on Marketplace. You know, I gave an offer, and they were like, yeah, we'll take that. So I went to pick it up, and I met him somewhere, and the guy had it in a box, and he goes, yeah, this is... He's like, it's a really exciting day for me today. I was like, oh, you know, what's going on? What happened? And he goes, so me and my wife could never have kids. And they were fostering this kid ever since he was, I think, 8 or 9, I think. He was now like 16 or something like that, and they were finally able to adopt him, like legally. So he's like, we just got back from signing all the paperwork and stuff, and the Xbox that I was buying was that kid's Xbox, and he had that from all of the times that he was going to different foster homes and when he was at theirs. So he was selling it because he was getting a new Xbox as like a gift for finally reaching this big milestone. And I was like, wow, that is incredible. Like that was just a story, just buying like a simple Xbox 360 that I did not expect. He told me like the whole backstory. I was like, oh my God, like.
Did you still get the Xbox?
Yeah, I bought it.
You didn't just give it to him?
No, I bought it from him.
Right. And then give it right back to him and say, here, this belongs with you. No, I'm just kidding. That is awesome, though.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. But anyway, back to
no, I get the
gaming.
sentiment. Yeah, I mean, so like most of it's the N64 era, because for me that was like the 7, 8-year-old me.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, my memories before that time period are, you know, mostly more sparse. The other memory that comes back is going over to my neighbor's house and playing Paperboy. I used to pester the shit out of him. He was probably early 20s, lived there with his girlfriend. And he was a Pizza Hut delivery driver for the Pizza Hut down the road. This was in Finksburg, Maryland. So I don't even know if that Pizza Hut's still there. Damn good pizza.
Dude, if you get sloshed and get some Pizza Hut, oh man,
You don't even need to be sloshed for Pizza Hut, man. I can tell you.
I was never big because their pizza was always too saucy, and I didn't really care for it.
That's what I love.
But the one
Make it that stout.
time we were somewhere and I got just blitzed, and we ordered Pizza Hut, and when we got home, it was just like eating pizza, and I was like, oh my god, this is so good.
Another big gaming memory for me is much later, actually. I guess I was like 18, 19. I spent a lot of time over at my girlfriend's house at the time, and she had a little brother. And I remember, like, this one weekend I was over there, I took my PS3 over, and we were playing Guitar Hero just all freaking weekend. Just, like, just trading the guitar around the room, around the room, around the room, around the room. And it's just, next thing you know, it's like 3 o'clock, and her mom's like, will you all shut the fuck up? And we're like, turn it up.
Anything else that sticks out to you?
I'm thinking. I mean, GTA.
Which one?
Not 2. I guess it would be 3 because that was the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
This was PS2 era.
Yep.
There was one kid in the neighborhood who got it before everybody else, and we would all go over there, and the stuff that we would do in that game, like, should not have been. I mean, for context, the ages that we should not have had that game, but we did, and like that poor girl. I can't
Dude,
I can't get into that. But.
For me,
Get a car in GTA 3. Get a car, drive around, pull up to a questionable looking person, let them get in the car,
drive to a secluded area.
It's so messed up. You shouldn't put that in the game.
Yeah, for me, I remember playing, the original Mario. I got my Nintendo when I was 3. So that's core memory, and playing Duck Hunt. My mom playing Yoshi Cookie. That's a cool, because we had the Nintendo in my parents' room, and there's a video of me and my brother when I was playing Mario, and then they moved it to my sister's room in the opposite end of the house. So
you just unlocked a freaking memory.
So my mom would play Yoshi Cookie.
Yoshi?
Mm-hmm.
Hold that thought before I forget. What was the game for Super Nintendo with the gun?
The Super Scope?
Yes. I got a Super Scope for Christmas. And it didn't frickin' work. On Christmas Day. Like, they were notorious for that, weren't they? Being dog crap?
I never messed with the Super Scope at all. I don't think I ever had one. I always wanted one, I think, but I don't think I ever had one.
Yeah, I never got a replacement. Whoever it was, they just returned it and said, fuck that kid. But continue. So, wait, Yoshi Cookie?
It's like the puzzle game. Yoshi is like off to the side, and there's like little cookies that fall down, and you have to swap them to put them in a row, and it's kind of like pseudo Tetris, like same kind of concept, but with cookies, and like you can rotate them in different ways. So she played that a lot. Huh?
Did your mom bake a lot?
No. It was just like a puzzle game that she...
Did you bake a lot?
No. So there was that. Then the Super Nintendo, I remember playing Chrono Trigger. Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country. I remember playing Donkey Kong Country 2 at my sister's in-laws' house with their daughter, who was older than me. We played that. Then Sega, I remember playing Altered Beast, Earthworm Jim, Toe Jam and Earl. I played some games with my nieces and nephews, and I played with my aunt's husband at the time. There's pictures of that somewhere. Then there's the N64, where I played Super Mario 64 with my cousin, which is my aunt's daughter. I remember playing that there.
No shit, Sherlock.
That's when I talk about cousins, like the only cousins that I really
That's okay.
talk about is that cousin, because I don't communicate with any other cousins.
Gotcha. It's not like West Virginia cousins.
No, definitely not.
Okay. Oh, me and Pop used to rent Beavis and Butthead on Sega. He used to rent it. I played it, but he rented it. He actually took me to see Do America in theaters.
Oh, hell
When
yeah.
when it came out, I think I was 8 years old or something.
I remember WrestleMania 2000 on the N64 when I got hit by a car. I got
The black cartridge.
Yep, I got to sit in my dad's chair in the living room and play it on the big screen, and it was prime time for that.
They let you sit in your dad's chair?
Mm-hmm. I didn't have a choice. It was like the only convenient spot for me to sit at the time, because it was when I just got back from the hospital and I was still in a full leg cast. Then they when I got to the half leg cast, I was able to go back in my bedroom, and I had a water bed, and I had a Rottweiler who was like my dog. Well, I was laying in bed with my leg stretched out. She went to climb up on the bed and laid on my leg. I just remember screaming so loud because it hurt so bad. And my dog, that dog, dude, that dog was so important to me. When she couldn't hop up on my bed anymore to sleep in my bed, I laid on the floor with her until my parents had to take her to get put down. But anyway, then No Mercy and renting No Mercy and the WCW games from Blockbuster.
I had a thought and I lost it.
Very little Ocarina of Time. I think I played that
You
later.
have an ocarina?
No. Later in my life, I played that game.
Later in my life.
Final Fantasy VII.
At all of 33.
Final Fantasy VII for the PS1. I remember playing Excite Bike on the NES. That was another key one.
I have that somewhere.
The WWE or the WWF games for the PS1, like Attitude and Just Bring It.
Attitude.
The SmackDown games.
Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed. Gran Turismo.
Yep, Gran
Crash
Turismo.
Bandicoot. Spyro the
Crash,
Dragon.
Spyro.
Fantavision was actually PS2, wasn't it?
Yeah, that might have been on
So-
PS1.
No, it was PS2. Siphon Filter 1, 2, and 3 were on PS1. Siphon Filter was my shit.
The obvious, I remember when I first played Resident Evil, I was at my friend Andrew's house, and his dad actually had the copy, and we took it from him to play it.
Siphon Filter?
Resident Evil.
Oh.
And Resident Evil 2, when my parents got me that one was very key to my growing up. Very key. Resident Evil 3 as well. I remember Dino Crisis. Like PS1, I
Can we
played,
just say the whole damn series and get it over with?
I played very heavily on the PS1. I like the Dino Crisis games because that's when I was like early teens.
You remember Test Drive 5
Yes.
with the Blue Viper
Yes.
and the Hummer?
Yeah. Oh, hi, Ellie. I didn't know you were down here.
I think I beat Siphon Filter 2 on my way to Hershey Park.
Oh, because you had the screen.
I did. I had the portable screen for the PlayStation that had the cigarette lighter adapter.
Oh, dude, I would have killed for that.
And yeah, I was very fortunate. Well, so I actually the original PlayStation I had was like the initial
Like the big gray one, yeah.
big gray one.
Mm-hmm.
I actually traded that in for the smaller one, the PS1,
Yep.
like ONE.
Yep.
Because that's what I needed for the screen, and then I
Mm-hmm.
got the screen, and I forget what the hell. I think the screen was like 140 freaking bucks, but
I remember playing Super Mario Land 2, and the Pokemon games. There's a specific memory I remember. Me, my friend Andrew, my friend Derek, who was Andrew's cousin, and Derek's little brother Nate. We all played Pokemon on our Game Boy Advances, but we were outside of Andrew's house, which was my neighbor. We were all playing our Game Boy Advances, and Derek had Emerald, and I was so jealous that he had Emerald because I wanted Emerald. But I had Sapphire, and Andrew had Ruby, so we all had like all 3 different ones, so we could trade. So that's a pretty key memory. I remember when me and Andrew would play RuneScape.
we're
Dude,
done.
Listen, like this was before Discord was even a thing.
You remember EB Games?
Yes. This was before Discord existed or any voice chats. We would, when you were able to talk on the phone, like, and be on the internet at the same time, we would talk on landlines and have it on speakerphone and just sit it on the desk. And we would talk to each other as we like skilled or when we would do quests at the same time. So we'd like be there. Dude, it like those are some of like the key memories to me is like playing old school or what would be now old school RuneScape with Andrew talking on the landline.
See how old you really are. Did you ever buy a yo-yo from EB Games?
Probably. I had the X-Brain.
I have an X-Brain somewhere.
I
If I
had
still have it.
the butterfly. It was like the red, like really like wide.
Yep, the Duncan.
Yeah.
I have
one of those.
actually Adelaide now has my Yomega Firestorm
Yeah.
from when I was a kid.
Yes. I don't have any of those.
It does not
anymore.
sleep anymore.
I wish I
It does
did.
not sleep anymore. I'm like, watch me walk the dog. Oh shit, this is Tangled.
The Guitar Hero games, me and my friends played those religiously. I remember when we were just being stupid kids, we'd be down in my friend Niles' basement, and me and Eric would be on the Guitar Hero controllers, and we just didn't care about anything. So we'd be like pretending we were like playing a show or whatever, and we'd take off the instrument and like throw it across the room or like break it or something. Just
Hey, do you have any
stupid
old
kids.
Xboxes?
What, like 360s?
Any?
I have 360s, yeah.
Do they work?
Yeah.
You have any that don't work?
Yeah.
You want to have some fun with it?
Like how?
I got a baseball bat at home.
Then Halo, obviously. Then Call of Duty. Those were
Call of Duty was mine.
prime for my friend group at those times.
I actually went out and bought a TV just for Call of Duty because the CRT wasn't cutting it while I was trying to do that on PS3, and I was like, I need to do this. I spent like $600 on a 26-inch TV.
Yeah, so those are some of my, like, I have those kinds of memories from, and then when I first got Skyrim,
When you first got what?
when I first got Skyrim, when it was on 360, the Elder
Oh, the
Scrolls
game.
Skyrim.
I thought you were talking about something
I
else.
wasn't even the one that chose to pick it up. We saw a trailer or something, and Alicia actually said it looked pretty good, and I didn't have money to get it because I was broke, being a
broke.
young teen. So I traded in a bunch of games, and I just had enough to get the game and the strategy guide. So I got that, and I played the.
You got the strategy guide for Skyrim?
I still do.
What the hell is wrong with you?
What?
Dude, we're in the age of the internet. There's entire sites dedicated to that.
Nothing beats having a nice, like, old-fashioned strategy guide.
It is nice.
But I digress.
Did I ever tell you the story of how I wound up with my PlayStation gamer tag?
Ween Train?
Okay. Yep, that's it. W33 and train.
Well, you didn't have to spell it out for people, but
well, they know. They know what's coming. The train is coming. No, I was over at Brandon's apartment with AZ, and we were playing. He had just gotten PS4, and I had to go to the bathroom, and they were like setting up the accounts and everything. I was like, "Yeah, make me one. I'll be right out." I did not mean finish making me one. I meant like start and not to pick my name. Yeah, that was bestowed upon me. I had no choice. I got back out and I was like, "What the hell is this?" They're like, it's your gamer tag, bro. I'm like, Ween Train.
You know you can change that, right?
It's like $20.
Not anymore.
Oh, you can change those?
Yeah, you get like a free one.
Well, yeah, I would have used. Oh, you get one free change?
No, it's like every so often you get a free one.
I did not know that. I thought it was still like $20. To this day, I was like, No, I'll just like.
It hasn't been $20 in a very long time.
Eventually, I just got used to it. I would hop on Fortnite and like we'd all be, like mic'd up with the headsets and everything, and we'd be going in on the battle bus, and I'd be like, "Y'all ready to get fucked by the Ween Train?" It's like I'm the guy that's gonna get like banned.
So to piggyback off of the key gaming memories, what, like, when you're us as dads, a big thing for us as dads is creating memories with our kids. What do you think creates a key memory for a kid where it's just like the key memories that you have with whoever it is, those ones that just stick in your brain? What creates those key memories? Like, what is it about them that just like makes them stick?
I mean, that's hard because I think you're referring to good memories.
Yes, good, preferably good memories.
Well, no, just because like
those key moments where like they will not forget that. Like, it's whether it's something that you did, something that just even just it can be so small, or it can be just on a massive scale. Whatever it is, like it's just a moment that your kid will never forget.
So there are like certain things that I think will trigger those cognitive markers, if you will. Like it's almost as if you look at growing up as this journey up a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And as you journey up a mountain, you gradually place, flags every so often so you can track your way back down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think that in the terms of growing up, we're ever going to go back down the mountain.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe at the same time, we go back down the mountain every time we reflect.
I mean, yeah, because you're looking back, basically. So.
Right.
But it's not necessarily a bad thing when you look back. It's just remembering, like, good times because, some things happen and you reminisce or you talk to people or...
Right. And so for me, I think there's two very distinct opportunities for that to occur. One, unfortunately, is in terms of, like, extreme trauma, extreme pain, things like that. I think those are things that your kids are going to remember. Like, for me, I remember one time I was riding my bike early one morning, summer vacation. I cannot remember how old I was exactly, but I want to say it was like 5th, 6th grade. and we had speed bumps throughout the neighborhood. I hit the speed bump, and like we all had BMX bikes. We used to hit those things and try to see how high we could get.
Yep.
So I hit it really well, but when I came back down, I did not know it at the time. The nut on my front fork was loose, so I hit, and the front fork, the wheel actually just went completely sideways while my handlebars were straight, and I just went straight over the bike, and the handlebar dug into my thigh to where it, like, you know, I'm like bleeding and it's like bruising, and I'm like probably 100, maybe 150 feet from my house. And I'm like, you know, just like dragging my body back up to the house,
Yeah.
yelling, "Hey, help me, help me." So that is obviously very vivid in my brain.
Yeah, I have, I have plenty of those too, being hit by a car.
Well,
obviously.
exactly.
Like,
I think you understand that piece.
that whole scenario, like I talked about it before. If you want to look back on our videos, I think it's even titled, when I got hit by a car. But yeah, like every
He's talking about the first time.
Every piece of that event, like I can remember every single detail.
Right. And the point that I was getting at with that was that those kind of memories are very vivid and detailed. Like
Yeah, because most of the time, like when something like that happens, it's the first time that it's happening to you.
Exactly.
So, like, obviously you're going to remember.
But I think the mechanism for memory at that point is different than the mechanism of memory for what we're talking about here with, as like parents growing up. For me, most of my childhood memories are with my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
I do have memories of growing up with my grandmother and then, with my mom, my dad, as well, in that order. But he was retired as of 2 years after I was born, so he was literally always there. So I think that to me, that screams that being present in your child's life, like not just being around or living with them, but actually being involved with them,
Engaging with them.
Exactly.
Doing certain things with them. Yeah, that definitely is very vital in creating these kinds of memories. And like you said, with your grandfather being very present and, a lot of your memories being with him, it's going to be the same way with Lydia, with my daughter, because she doesn't go to daycare. She gets watched by the grandparents. So they, like...
It will be similar.
Yeah.
Little different, but yes. To your point, I don't think
she spends a lot of time with them because they are the ones that watch her while we're at work. So, she gets to do all, like, the things that they get to do, man. It truly is like a blessing, for lack of a better term, because they get to take her to like the market and all these people know her and she gets to help out, with different things, and she goes to like the stores and stuff with them, and they interact with all these people because they know them and they get to interact with each other. She goes to car shows, she gets to go in the parade. Like, the things that she gets to do is just, it's very rare that a kid gets to grow up like that.
Oh yeah. And I think it's good too, though.
Very, very good.
Because
there's no denying that.
It would be better for her to have those memories with her grandfather and her grandmother than to have those memories at, say, a daycare.
Yes,
because that's not going to ground with her. It's not going to stay.
Yeah, like the unfortunate thing is, eventually things are going to happen, and those memories will last forever. Yeah. Those will be very key and very vital. And with her being with my mom for that brief time when she would watch her as well, she got to build those memories too. Are those memories going to stick? Because that was when she was, from the time she was born to like 3.
You probably will.
So
Some of
I
them.
think that, some of them will stick because she does
The
remember
later
those
ones.
very, very vividly, some of them, but it's definitely not going to be like the kind of memories that she's making now.
The other thing about it, though, is, and this is what throws me for a loop, it's very weird. Not even necessarily like weird, because weird has this bad connotation to it. Peculiar. I have no idea why I can remember being a child on the porch with my grandfather and watching a snake slither across the sidewalk, stop, look at me, and then keep going. Totally arbitrary. Doesn't make sense at all. Not the first time I saw a snake. No idea why that sticks out to me. So that's the other piece of my point, is that we can't really tell what of the time that we have with our kids is going to be defining or stick to them, or for what reason it is. I mean, you could argue that like the big things are more likely to stick, like trips to Hershey Park. I remember a couple of those.
We went so frequently because they would do trips with like both of my parents' work. So like that became just kind of like the usual, because I would go like once or twice a year.
Yeah. So like with my grandparents, there was one year my grandmother was like, "Let's get season passes," and it's like, okay. And I think we went like 5 times that year, and we lived in Maryland. Like, we were ways away. So.
Here's another way to look at like, creating these memories with your kids is, there might be a time where you're trying to, because you try to create certain memories with your kids. It's just you are trying to give your kids the childhood that you didn't have, or you're trying to give them the same kind of childhood that you had, or what have you. Like there's
or a combination of that,
or there's different combinations of usually parents are trying to give their kids the best that they can give them, provide the best, take them on trips, do as much as they can with them.
Not me.
So there are times where, you're taking your kid to, an amusement park or doing something with them, but you think that you're trying to make a memory with them for them, but you're making it instead for yourself.
Yeah. Well, and that was the other thing that I was going to say was for all the times that we went to Hershey Park when I was a kid, which is significantly more than I have ever taken my daughter. I only have like 2 or 3 distinct memories from that.
From taking your daughter?
No, from going as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, there's one that sticks out to me, and it's only because like it was so crazy. We went to that arcade that they have it's like the big...
The one at the top of the hill by the Great Bear? It's a big arcade?
No, it's the other one. I think it's by like where the food and stuff is.
Yeah, that's up by the Great Bear.
Maybe.
They have the big food thing that's in like a barn-looking place, and then down below that they have like this little... used to be a water gun game, one of the water gun races, and then across from that they have that big arcade.
It's been a long time since I've been to Hershey Park, but it was a big arcade, and me and my friend Jesse walked in, and there was a machine that was spitting out those blue tokens, and it just kept spitting them out, and we were like pulling our shirt out and like dumping them into our shirt. And it just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. And we had literally our shirts pulled out, like sagging, carrying these tokens. And we could literally just have whatever prize that we wanted. Big, small, whatever.
I just unlocked another memory. It was a 5-foot tall husky that I won at the ring toss right there by the Comet. And I actually won it. My grandmother, I think, was kind of pissed about that.
Comet was the white wooden one, right?
Comet's the white wooden one that's really old. That's actually getting new cars this year, I think, which is a good thing because those were getting a little questionable. But yeah, I won that thing. And so my grandmother had a Cavalier.
My mom had a Cavalier.
And when you have 3 people,
Or no, she didn't have a Cav. She had a Cobalt. Never mind. She had a Cobalt.
the new Cavalier. But I had to ride home with the 5-foot frickin' Husky that took up the whole damn back seat. An hour and a half back to Maryland, and it's like, this is really worth it. But and then I have memories like with my dad, like of going to the arcade that was in. It was originally called Cranberry Mall. At some point, they started calling it Town Mall, and we would go there, and like that was when those dump truck games first came out with the turning arms and just winning some aliens there, and lots of good memories of that mall later on. I don't know if I should admit it on. Came into possession of a handicapped parking sign. Don't know where that is anymore. What else? What else is a memory? Like, so I'm trying to bring these up to draw a conclusion or some like defining criteria around what is causing them to stick.
It is strange because I also have like memories, being like we were at the Hanover Mall and we got thrown out because we were being stupid, and the guy was waiting for one of the parents to come pick us up, and we kept trying to dumpster dive in the dumpster that was out front.
Why?
Because there was just like a bunch of cardboard and stuff in it, so we were like just being stupid.
A dumpster.
And we gave this dude such a hard time.
Oh yeah.
And finally, my friend's mom came and picked us up because she was the one that just didn't really care, and she was the one that we called so that we wouldn't get in trouble. Because we could do whatever we wanted at his house, and we had no repercussions or anything.
See, for me, teenage years were like, summer was all about carnivals.
I mean, when I was in school, we had like the Jefferson Carnival where like that was the thing to go. You would go and try and, you would be dressed in your best, or like, you would actually put effort into what you were putting on. And in my case, it was like, all right, I need to put on my most like thrashed cool skate shoes and my jeans with the holes in them to let them know I'm a skater. I'm a skater boy.
I was always in some emo band T-shirt, a white studded belt, skinny jeans.
That came too. That was me as well.
Flip flops or DCs.
I never wore flip flops. It was always my whatever shoes were shredded the most. It was like that was it. But obviously, the skinny jeans and studded belts and the band tees and
it was turned sideways and
yep. I still wear my belts that way.
So we would do, I think Hampstead Carnival was the last, Manchester was the first, Reese Carnival's the third week of July, Gamber is before Reese, I believe, and then there was Sykesville, Mount Airy in there.
Yeah, we had one.
Yeah, no, dude, it was like...
I guess technically two with the York Fair, but that wasn't the one that you wanted to go, like, hang... Like, Jefferson was just small town, like...
I've been there.
Yeah.
But for us, it was like tour of the county, and we wouldn't go like every night, it was one night a week or something, and especially when we started working, because inevitably that's when we frickin' got scheduled, they're like, oh yeah, you're working summer? Okay, come in from 1 to 10.
Shit. Dude, I remember when I had my first job at Genova's, and I was in a band, when I was in my first band, and the first time I requested off ever, the whole family for the pizza shop needed off. And I was like, I have a show, like I can't come in. And they were like, well, if you don't come in, you're fired. And I was like, well, I'll just quit right now. And I just walked out. then the one of the family members had to stay and do dishes all night because I left. So that was serves her right.
My first my first job was actually at a car lot. My second job was at Walmart. I worked at Walmart for several years. It's hilarious. The Employee of the month is literally like spot the fuck on. Like, and so, I mean, when your supervisors are basically the college kids, they're going to community college locally. One of them was in a post-hardcore band, and, you know, like covered in tattoos. Dude, his tunnels were like big. Keenan Ports. I wonder how he's doing.
Dude, there was a kid that would go to shows where we played, and he had like 3 inches in his ears. And the one time he was moshing, and someone's finger got caught and just ripped it right out.
That's a lot of blood.
But anyway, memories. Oh God, I just pulled this into my face.
I don't know what triggers them, and I can't find any common ground that really establishes. I look fat as hell.
Are you really looking up that?
Yeah, I'm looking him up. I
can't wait until afterwards.
No, I couldn't. I'll forget. I really will forget. I can't find any common ground that really like has this declaring factor for whether it's stored or not. All I can say is that as a parent, you know, do your best to be there as often as you can and have great times with them, because you don't know when it's going to stick, and you want what does stick.
Yeah, you always want it to be positive. You want to be present with your kids, pay attention to them.
Well, I didn't say all that.
Stay in the know with them and stuff like that, because you don't want to.
Stay in the know. Do you have any idea how many parents I have met in the past month that don't have a freaking clue about half the shit that's going on with like Facebook, social media, all this other stuff that kids are exposed to today? Please be aware.
Well, it's unfortunate that a majority of parents nowadays are iPad parents. You just hand a kid an iPad and you let it babysit them. You know, you can expose them to, you know, that for periods of time, but don't do it all day, every day, and that's all your kid's ever doing, and then you're just not even paying attention. You're just off in la la land doing whatever else. Like, pay attention to them. Talk with them. Especially as they get older. You know, it's very, very, very important to know what your kid is up to, because if you don't, that's very bad, and it can end very badly, and no parent should go through that.
If half of you had a clue what was out there, you would not let your kids have a phone without some sort of restriction on it.
100%. 100%.
Like, I have seen the dark side of Facebook. It exists.
Well, yeah, it's the internet.
I'm just saying, you think Facebook is like protected from all this stuff?
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, no. People get by that left and right.
If there's a will, there's a way.
And Instagram is worse.
Oh, yeah. Don't even get me started on that. So let's jump into our movies, because I'm going to be honest, 2006 to 2010 was, I wouldn't say lackluster, but it's definitely not as jam-packed as the earlier years that we've been going over.
You better make this quick.
So 2006, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 2 honorable mentions.
That's hard. Whoa, what?
2 honorable mentions?
How are any of those honorable mentions?
I'm going to pick them. We haven't discussed.
You best be careful.
So...
Oh, I'm going to kill you.
Really?
That movie is so fucking amazing.
So, what about that? That one better?
It's better than the one below it, but I still don't think it needs to be just like.
What about that one?
Yeah, we could go with that one.
Casino Royale. I think that was the first one with Daniel Craig.
It was.
I didn't watch these until much later, when I guess the last one that he was in came out.
Any 007 movie with Daniel Craig in it is dog water. Bond is not blonde.
So I'm gonna disagree. I actually at first I was very no, I don't care. He's not my James Bond. But after I watched them, I'm like, dude, he plays a fantastic James Bond.
He does. He does an amazing job. He is fabulous, but he's blonde. And because they did not color his hair before the film, I will not respect it.
Dude, and also, what a good-looking dude.
I'm not touching that.
All right.
I'm not telling you what I do at night.
And the second honorable mention is going to be Silent Hill. It definitely strayed from the game, but it was way better than any other video game adaptation to film. It was
hard to stay true to the game.
Well, yeah, but it definitely had the weird twisted aspect of it, and a lot of the location and stuff was pretty accurate, so I'll give it to that. And it was a movie where I watched it and I wasn't like, oh, thank God that's over. It was one that I watched and I was like, you know what? This is actually pretty good. I enjoyed it.
That's what people say about this podcast.
No, I think what they say about this podcast is that is dog water.
It ain't water, man. It's dog piss.
The top four, Grandma's Boy. One of, if not my favorite movie of all time.
This movie was the bane of my existence.
Dude, I could choke you out for saying that.
Why? No, I love it, but it proved to be horrible for... I was raised by my grandmother.
Dude.
Come on.
This movie is so perfect from start to finish. So many memorable scenes in this movie. I mean, him spending the night at at Jeff's house, and he's in footy pajamas, and he has a race car bed, and he calls his parents his roommates. And
What's wrong with my race car bed?
he's like, you have a race car bed? And he's like, yeah, which is a pretty sweet car. He goes, my roommates are thinking about getting me rims for Christmas, maybe a CB radio to talk to other car beds. And then he sleeps over and he can't sleep, so he wakes up and he goes into the bathroom and he has a Lara Croft figure, and he starts fucking shirking it to the shit that he says during that scene. And then Jeff's mom walks in.
Hold up. You ever jerked it to Lara Croft?
No. Not that I would admit.
I have not, but...
And he ends up, all over his friend's mom. And
I forgot about
and he's leaving, and Jeff's like, I can't believe you came on my mom. He's like,
I can't believe you said that on air.
He's like, oh, that's so not cool. Why didn't you wake me up and play video games? He's like, you were balls deep in that turtle. And he's like, I love my turtle. And then when they're at work, he asks to stay at his other friend's house, at Timmy's house, and Timmy's like, why? So you can come on my mom too? And he's like, Jeff's a fucking liar, Timmy. He's
Jeff's a fucking liar, Timmy.
He's like, how many people have you told? He's like, I don't know, 13.
The only thing that would have made that better would have been if they worked at a grocery store and his mom came in and was like, oh, hey.
Dude, JP being the, prodigy and just pretending he's a robot half the time. Mr. Cheezel and Dude, it's the grandmas and her friends and him pretending that they're just like these nymphomaniacs that he lives with for bragging rights.
Oh,
Dude, it's such a damn good movie. It's one of my favorites. Then we've got Pan's Labyrinth. This is definitely an odd one out in a majority of movies that we've talked about.
well, it's the only non-comedy that ever existed.
Yeah. Well, dude, the whole list, like, there's a lot of like very like serious movies on here.
Yeah, I'm just warning you now. We're going to get to 2009. I'm just going to say the one that we're going to pick, and then I'm done for this decade. Like,
this was. Am I thinking of the right one? This is the foreign one, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I watched this at my friend's house
Spanish, I believe.
off of just a whim, and I was like, "Oh wow, this was actually really good." It was like one of the first like subtitle movies that I ever watched.
You couldn't understand it without the subtitles?
No,
Oh,
because I watched it like right when it came out,
so did I.
but I watched it with subtitles. I don't remember a thing about it, if I'm going to be completely honest. I remember the movie, but I like don't remember what happens in the movie.
It's worth watching.
We've got Night at the Museum. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought these movies were actual trash.
Dude.
I did not.
The last bit of Robin Williams we got.
I did not enjoy these movies at all.
I'm made of wax, Larry. What are you made of?
I couldn't get into them.
Totally.
Cause one, I'm not a huge Ben Stiller fan.
Blink. They won't even miss you.
I like.
Ben
I'm
Stiller
just
was
not-
okay, but no. I mean, yeah. So I like this for Robin Williams, and like I like the idea of you go to the museum and at night you get locked in, and then it comes to life, and it's cool. But I don't think it needed to be articulated as much as it was.
They're definitely not on my list of movies to watch. What?
Bro, it's still Robin Williams.
Yeah, but there's plenty of Robin Williams movies that exist that I can watch
I'm made of wax.
and have a
Larry.
much better experience.
What are you made of?
And then we've got a certified classic with an incredible cast, The Departed.
The Faithfully Departed.
I mean, the cast alone on this movie.
I have to go to a wedding this weekend.
Get wrecked. The Departed just made you remember that?
Yeah, well, I said The Faithfully Departed. They are leaving their lives of freedom. You're familiar with that.
This is a classic, like, mobster-esque movie.
It's good.
I mean, it's Mark Wahlberg, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and I don't remember.
It's stacked too, yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Very, very, very good movie. It's Grandma's Boy.
That's definitely great.
Like, it wasn't even close. It's
Just a fucking liar, Timmy.
like, it is Grandma's Boy, cut and dry. It was never a doubt. 2007.
Oh, this is a hard one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 here. We have 2 honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is going to be August Rush. Really solid movie. The kid can play guitar like no other. And dude, the soundtrack to this movie is very, very, very good. Maybe I'm misremembering. Very touching story too. Definitely give it a watch if you've never watched it or never heard of it. I don't think it was super popular. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly.
They don't just make them bigger, dude.
And
They make them like
The-
round and symmetrical and supple.
I
I gotta catch a glimpse of these Warlocks.
Then the second honorable mention is going to be Knocked Up. And I will tell you why. Because I think this one, and the bottom two are just way too good. And in terms of comedies, like, these bottom two are just miles ahead of that one.
Yes, but I would have said the third one.
I did say the third one as the first honorable mention. You just apparently were not paying attention.
Maybe the first one then.
No, oh, definitely not. Yeah, Knocked Up is the second honorable mention, and
Knocked Up, so true though.
It's I mean, if you haven't seen it,
Doorman,
go watch it. It's
You're just a doorman. I'm sorry. It's not that you're too old for me, but you're too old for this club.
Wait.
They only let in
3.5%
black people.
Dude, that dude is so good in all of Seth Rogen's movies.
That means I need
so
to find
good.
a black midget or something.
I love when they're trying to get into the club and she goes off on him and he talks to her like so broken down. Like,
what you doing out here anyway? You pregnant and shit. No, yeah. So Zack and Miri make a porno. In that, he is free. When did that come out? Like,
I don't know.
That's got to be on this list.
Like I said, dude, some of these like big movies, I have to dig them. So, the top 4 of 2007 are Into the Wild. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch it. It's fantastic.
Dude,
and it's based on
2008. It's missing from the list.
How did that not come up on the list that I researched?
I have no idea, but there's a problem here.
So,
I think we need to reevaluate the person who's checking these.
So, Into the Wild, it's based on a true story. It's such a good movie. We've got Across the Universe, phenomenal musical movie. It's got the Beatles soundtrack. It's so good. I've watched this movie 1,000 times. Soundtrack's incredible. Definitely give it a watch if you haven't, or if you haven't watched in a while, do it. We've got Hot Rod. The amount of times I've watched this movie is actually insane.
Hot Rod is hilarious.
It's definitely Andy Samberg's best movie by a long shot.
Best movie, yes.
Dude, I love when what's his face hits that dude with the trap. I've been drinking green tea all goddamn day.
I can't believe they got Andy Samberg to do the skit where they're in the police station and then they've got the 5 guys in the lineup.
Oh my god, that's so
singing,
good. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. And
yeah.
he's like, chills. Just chills.
It was that guy.
Number 5 killed my brother. Oh, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, this movie is so damn good. It's so funny. And then we've got Superbad. If you haven't, for some reason, seen Superbad, reevaluate your life.
McLovin! Nice!
I love when he's finally like getting laid at the party, and then he's like, "Is it him? It's him."
Huh?
And then the cops bust in, and he's like,
Vicky!
"Oh
are you
my
crying?
god!"
No, I just got something in both my eyes.
I love when he's having the fight with his friend, when Michael Cera's character and Evan and he's like, "Oh no, Evan, I couldn't take your small with a bottle of lube. I'm so glad you brought the lube."
Dude, he gets raunchy with that too.
It's so good.
Oh
It's
my
so
god,
good.
lube!
Oh, and when my favorite part, which I don't know why we quote it so much, it's when he goes into the store and he's having all the different scenarios that can play out of him buying the alcohol, and the old lady gets the alcohol for him, and he's like, "Have a nice day," and she's like, "Have fun fucking Jules." I will. It's so good, and of course that's the pick for 2007.
Do you want me to buy you alcohol?
It's the pick for 2007.
That'd be lovely. It's not the pick for 2007. It's the pick for the whole fucking list. Like, that is easily one of my top 5 comedies of all time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Because this woman's made a fucking fairy tale name, you fuck!
So 2008, we have 2 honorable mentions. One of them is...
Yeah, you need to add, like, that would...
You want me to add that into... That was 2008? So we have 3 honorable mentions.
That ain't an honorable mention. That's...
It would be an honorable mention for me.
I know which one you're going to pick already, but that one is definitely better than... And I think it's neck and neck with that one.
So...
We have 3 honorable mentions.
3 honorable mentions. Tropic Thunder...
I was specifically asked not to say anything about this one before filming began, so...
It's a movie that they made, and it's
hilarious.
Hilarious.
But it's not great.
Little questionable at times. It's a spoof on Platoon, but Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., dude, how Robert Downey Jr. recovered from that moment in his career is beyond me, but you know what? It's a hilarious movie, so I'll give it the pass.
I'll put it this way: this movie could not be put in theaters today.
Definitely not.
It would
Definitely not.
People would burn the shit down.
The second honorable mention is going to be 21. As much as it pains me to put that on an honorable mention.
That's the one.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
The dude counts cards.
Dude, it was a Rip on Rain Man.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah, but Rain Man's better.
It's a really good movie.
I think I might put a
third honorable mention is going to be the one that was not written on here. And that is Zack and Miri Make a Porno. Or Zack and Miri is what they call it now, because I guess they took off the Make a Porno.
They did?
Yeah. They took that off of the name now, so it's just Zack and Miri.
No. You're not allowed to do that shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they took that off. It was funny. I think on the case, like on the actual like release cases. That's an old release case.
Yo, Elizabeth Banks is hot either way, but...
It was a funny movie, but I definitely wouldn't put it on top 4.
I would put it on top 4 just for the, like, have you seen the scene where, the guy that we were just talking about, the guard from Knocked Up, the bouncer, is standing there and he's like, a barista at the coffee shop, and the guy's, right there, I'd like a coffee, black.
Oh, yeah. And he's, yeah. Yeah. And he's like, I will something white.
Yeah, and then the guy's like, the owner comes out, he's like, Zach, my boy, I look at the camera, I see you play baseball last night. Oh! Wiffle ball. And then he just like goes off on him. It's so funny. And like the part, you just watch it. Like, I'm not gonna win this battle with him.
You're not. You're just not.
Just watch it.
With these movies on here,
Dude,
definitely not.
Tropic Thunder, no. And the other one.
So the top 4. We'll move to the top 4. Role models. Sean William Scott, Paul Rudd, and it's got the dude that plays McLovin and
Christopher Plassey Minutes.
something. Yeah.
That's Plassey.
Dude, this movie it's about the two dudes who get into trouble, and then their like community service is being a big brother to like these kids, and it's Sean William Scott gets this little black kid who is just the most insane kid on the planet, and Paul Rudd's little, they call him littles in the movie, is McLovin, and he's like super nerdy and just like different. And dude, the blonde girl, when they're talking to there's, you know where you go if you don't do this? To jail. You know what they do in jail? Cocaine. And she just goes off on like this tangent, and it's so funny. And I think it's at the end of the movie, she walks up to somebody and she's holding what are they called? Pigs in a blanket, and she's like taking the hot dog in and out of the croissant. Dude, it's so good. It's so funny. Then we've got Marley and Me. What an absolutely heartbreaking movie.
Yeah, and you fucking put it in the top 4.
Because it deserves to be in the top 4.
No, it doesn't.
As sad as, and I refuse to watch it ever again because it is just way too sad.
I'm going to make you watch it now.
When you put a movie like that with, them starting a family and raising the dog through the whole thing, and then at the end the dog, passes away, dude, I'm out.
Why?
I'm out. It's too sad.
All right, then put on Zack and Miri and you can look at
Shut
everything
your
about
mouth. It's not that good of a movie.
Oh, yeah. At the end, we do Revenge of the Shit.
Pineapple Express.
The all anal final chapter. Pineapple Express was hilarious.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is Seth Rogen's best movie.
No.
Really?
It's not.
I think it is.
I mean, he's good in it, but I don't think it's his best.
Well, didn't he make this movie?
He made pretty much all of them that he was in.
I think this is the best movie that he made.
I think there were others.
What, like Zack and Miri?
He was in that, yeah. But no, I don't know if Zack and Miri is better than Pineapple Express.
It's definitely
especially not from like Zack's perspective.
I think this is definitely
Like
his best movie that he made.
See, that's the thing you have to are we talking about his acting? Are we talking about his production? His
I'm talking
writing?
about as a whole, because this movie was hilarious and just like it was well done in terms of like when the comedy comes in.
Yeah, but so was Zack and Miri. Like, dude, they have the freaking high school.
The only funny, like really
reunion?
funny part about that is when the dude that plays Randall in Clerks goes, "She frosted me like a cake."
Okay, yeah, that is funny. And so is what happens right before that. But like, Zach moving to Pittsburgh did he move to Pittsburgh? Yeah, he moved to Pittsburgh and he got a job at the Pirates Stadium. Not the Pirates, the Penguins. The Penguins Stadium as the target for people to shoot paintballs at. Because him and Miri fell in love and it like just went super south at that point, and he was like, "Fine, I'm leaving." And it's endearing. Like they mesh all of it together real well and then tie it in with porn. So
Not that great of a movie.
dude, they were talking about OnlyFans before it was even a thought.
Oh, that is a good point. And then we have Step Brothers.
This is the best on the list. Period.
Solid.
Don't touch my drum set.
I'm going to put my nutsack on your drum set. I mean, it's the Catalina wine mixer.
My vote is Step Brothers.
It has to be Step Brothers, yeah. This Dude, when this movie came out, dude, it was everywhere for a reason. It's absolutely hilarious. 2009.
All you got to read is number 4.
Yeah. So 2009, we have just 4. It's the top 4. There's no honorable mentions. We have Brothers with Jake Gyllenhaal and Tobey Maguire. It's where Tobey Maguire is in the Army or Marines or whatever. He goes off to war, stuff.
Just let people watch it.
Fantastic movie.
It's all right.
Really good movie.
It's all right.
It's really good movie.
Number 2 is The Blind Side. I haven't seen that.
Wait, really?
No, I just wanted to see your
I was
reaction.
about to say,
like I thought you were already pissed enough that I said
that's
it.
quite the movie not to see.
Like I just ripped in there.
I mean,
and
I just watched this at jury duty.
you might
if
not
you-
want to admit that on air.
I didn't have a choice. All I did was sat in there, and if you didn't have anything to do, they had a movie on, and this was the movie that they chose.
played that for you.
Yes. This was the movie that they chose, and this is what I watched.
See, I thought you had your phone out.
You can't have your phone.
That's right. You're in the courthouse. Well,
Here, you want to hear something crazy? You can't have your phone, but you can bring a laptop or a tablet.
yeah, you can't.
How
It's not an audio.
It
has audio, but
you can do everything that you can do on your phone on a laptop
No,
or a
you can't-
tablet.
You can't make a phone call from a laptop.
Tablets can have cellular service.
Doesn't mean they have a phone app.
That's the whole point of having cellular service.
No, it's so you can have.
You
access
can
to
make a
internet
call.
via.
I could FaceTime you.
Well, yes. I'm not denying that. You could do that.
I could Messenger call you.
Dude, I agree with you. I'm not trying
doesn't
to. I
make
agree with
sense.
you. It's dumb. It's dumb that people can't have their phone in the courthouse to begin with. When you let every lawyer walk right on through.
Yeah, I got there and they were like, "Oh yeah, you can have your tablets and phones or your tablets and computers." I was like, "Wait, that was an option?" Cool, awesome.
I mean, you didn't get picked for a case anyway, so.
It was the biggest waste of time.
Did you?
No.
Oh, that's right.
Then we have The Proposal.
Mm,
Apparently, it's Sandra Bullock's year.
mm.
Dude, this is a really good movie it's Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock. Fantastic movie. If you've probably seen it, I would assume. It's like part comedy, and then it gets like it has a serious storyline. I think it's really good. And then we have obviously the clear winner of this list is Inglourious Basterds.
Amazing.
It's an amazing movie. Brad Pitt. I mean, it's Quentin Tarantino. It's Quentin Tarantino.
Yep.
Don't need to say anymore. 2010.
Stop. This year is dog shit for movies. It doesn't even deserve recognition. You guys sucked. Hollywood, you fucked it up. I'm done.
I will say 2010 was not great.
This is not just not great. This is literally don't bother.
See, there are.
Which one would you even bother with?
I know.
Maybe the second one.
Okay, so the top 4, there's no honorable mentions here either.
They're all honorable mentions.
So we've got The Switch with Jason Bateman and Jennifer Aniston. Actually, a really good movie. I enjoyed this movie a good bit. Valentine's Day. I really liked this movie. I liked it was like 4 stories all at once, and they like kind of intertwined.
Well, yeah.
It was really well done, and I mean,
it was. What was I don't want to say wild, but like it was very trippy.
at the time, like they never made like something like this. Like they made a couple.
Now they do it all the time.
Now they do it all the time, but like this was very different, and I really, really liked this movie.
In Hollywood, as soon as an idea comes out, we have to regurgitate it 20 times as if we're a cow.
Then we have Buried, which is Ryan Reynolds. This is an interesting movie in the fact that it's basically shot from him in a coffin, and that's it. That's the whole movie. But it really builds up like the suspense and makes you feel a certain way like when you're watching this movie. It's definitely like just one to watch without any distractions and to really just accept all that's coming to you, and like especially when it's building up to the end and then you get the twist. That
really builds.
It's really good. It builds. It builds very well.
I love it when it builds.
And then we have definitely the best movie on this list, and that's Charlie St. Cloud. Yeah, you've seen this movie? Okay. I'll take that as a yes.
I've seen all of them tonight, actually.
Yeah, Charlie St. Cloud, really touching movie, really sad movie about, an older brother who loses his younger brother and holds on to the memory of him a little too much to where it affects his life, and he finally decides to move on and let it go, and he kind of gets like the okay from his little brother, like, hey, I understand, you can move on. And it's really, really touching, and it will get you a little emotional, but it is actually fantastic movie. Zac Efron is the main character. Really, really solid movie.
Movie's amazing.
And that pretty much
fucking sucks.
That pretty much wraps it up, man. We've touched on a lot of stuff today.
Oh.
And we'll continue to touch on a lot of stuff after this camera shuts off. But
so wrong.
We've got a lot to touch on next week as well, that we didn't get to jump into. But yeah.
What movie did they say gingerly touched tips in?
I don't know.
I can Google it. I don't know if I want to Google that.
Yeah, it's maybe.
I'm not used to the camera being there. I keep looking up here, and I'm like,
yeah, we're gonna be messing around with different angles and stuff. So just be patient with that. All right, say the thing, Andy.
The next one should be right up top, straight down. That would be cool.
That'd be weird.
We're Dad's Game Room.
Bye bye.